The combat history of the Jagdpanzer 38T, commonly known as the Hetzer, is not marked by a large number of spectacular engagements. Appearing in the final stages of the war, it did not have time to become widespread throughout the German forces. There were no famous aces serving on them who destroyed enemy tanks by the hundreds and were lavished with Knight's Crosses for it. Characterized by simplicity of production and maintenance, the Hetzer was most often crewed by personnel who had received only basic training and rarely participated in more than a few attacks or defensive actions against Allied armored assaults. In this regard, as well as in its cheap production cost, the German vehicle was akin to Soviet combat machines. When adopting the Hetzer, the Germans initially planned to equip the anti-tank companies of infantry grenadier and cavalry divisions with it. However, due to an acute shortage of vehicles, they were also used to form separate anti-tank battalions and brigades intended for assault guns. The first 20 production vehicles were delivered in May 1944 to a training unit, and only in July were the first two full-fledged combat units formed and sent to the Eastern Front. These were the 731st Army Group North and 743rd Army Group Center anti-tank battalions, each with 45 vehicles, 14 per company, plus 3 headquarters vehicles. Subsequently, other units were formed, such as the 741st Anti-Tank Battalion, parts of which were sent to both the Eastern and Western fronts. In February 1945, the 561st Anti-Tank Battalion was formed, and the 743rd was reorganized, both often operating under strength. In the spring of 1945, 2 more under-strength battalions, the 744th and another, were deployed. Nevertheless, the largest number of Hetzers produced, as originally intended, went to the anti-tank companies of infantry and cavalry divisions. The vehicle was well liked by its crews. Despite its flaws, it was reliable on long marches, easy to operate, maintain, and repair. Its armament allowed it to engage all types of enemy tanks without much difficulty, while its small size and decent frontal armor provided protection from return fire. At the beginning of 1945, the operational readiness rate for Hetzers at the front was around 67–68%, a very high indicator for that period. For comparison, the operational rate for the Panzer Kampfwagen IV tank at the same time did not exceed 57%. This was impressive considering that the tank destroyers were constantly in combat and were used not only and not even primarily against tanks, but also against enemy infantry and strongpoints, a task they performed better than many other available armored vehicles. Hetzer received positive reviews during the battles in the Ardennes, where they had to act as multi-role specialists. In the Baltic region and Hungary, anti-tank companies armed with Hetzers successfully exploited gaps in the front lines, breaking through to the rear of advancing Soviet units and inflicting unexpected losses. They also performed well in the urban fighting in Budapest. Veterans noted successful tactics where 3 or 4 vehicles would completely block a street intersection, continuously maneuvering during the battle and covering each other with accurate fire. Some post-war publications mention an episode involving a single Hetzer used by a home army unit during the Warsaw Uprising. The vehicle, nicknamed Chavat or Brave by the insurgents, had a short career and did not achieve notable success in destroying German tanks, but gained fame among the Warsavians. Descriptions of its actions are contradictory. In the area of Lake Balaton and the city of Székesfehérvár, Hetzer units suffered heavy losses as they were largely used as tanks in attacks on open terrain under dense Soviet artillery fire. Significant losses were also incurred by General Schörner's group during the breakout attempt in South Moravia. However, in the final days of the war, German troops often showed little will to fight. After one such attempted breakout, more than 50 fully operational Hetzers and Stug 3s with fuel and ammunition were found abandoned on the battlefield by their crews, with no significant damage. In the Prague Uprising in May 1945, Hetzers were used by both the Germans and the Czech insurgents. The latter captured a number of these vehicles from factories, sometimes without guns or ammunition, and used them as mobile armored machine gun posts. There is no confirmed evidence of the Soviet Army's combat use of Hetzers, although several were filmed being towed by T-34 tanks and destroyed for newsreels about the liberation of Prague in September-October 1945. Despite its late appearance on the front, Soviet soldiers who loved to give nicknames to all types of enemy equipment managed to christen this vehicle. On different sectors of the front, it was called Kolun, or cleaver, Zubilo, or chisel, Grobik, or little coffin, and for some reason, Svistok, or whistle. In conclusion, the Hetzer was a masterpiece of late-war German tank design. It is regrettable that it is often overshadowed by the more infamous Tiger and Panther tanks and their derivatives. This cheap, compact, and mobile vehicle, perfectly suited for mass production, created by Czech and German engineers, was exactly what Germany needed to combat the tank masses of the USSR and the Allies. The Germans themselves realized rather late that to fight the enemy's armored forces, they needed not expensive, capricious monsters, but reliable and massive tank destroyers. It's hard to disagree with the opinion that it was fortunate that the Hetzer appeared only at the end of the war and did not have time to cause much trouble. With that, the history of the German little coffin can be considered complete.